Hi guys, today we are going to ruffle some feathers because we're going to talk about how SMART goals are stupid. Now that might be really strong language for those of you who teach pre-K, but I'm gonna stick with that because SMART goals have some really good parts to them and some really serious flaws. And so as you go into the new year and you're thinking through what you want to do next year, or if you're watching this some other time and you're just thinking, what do I want to do next week? And you're looking to make some goals and some changes and some ideas, think about these things before you set your SMART goals. There are some good things to them. There's also some not great things to them. So let's start with, what are SMART goals? SMART is an acronym to help you set good goals, and it means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. So as you set your goal, you want to use that format to ensure that they are, you know, specific and relevant and measurable. Now there's some really good things that happen in there. So let's talk about the good things about SMART goals, and then we'll talk about the flaws that I often see with SMART goals. So some of those things are really great. You do want to have a specific goal so that you know whether or not you've achieved it and what you're working on. If you're just like, I want to make money, that's not really helpful. But if you have more specific goals, like I want to make X amount of dollars by this date, that's a specific goal that you actually can, you know whether or not you hit it, and it also hits that measurable, so you know if you hit it because you did it. Those things are really helpful. Having measurable goals are really helpful because, again, you know whether you did it, you know if you're moving forward or not, and those things are good. Those things are good. You know, I'm even okay with it being time bound because it's good to have a deadline and know, you know, when you're gonna do this thing by, so that you actually like put the pedal to the metal. I think the biggest problem I have is the part that says attainable. And the reason I have an issue with that is because I truly believe, from what I have done, what I have seen others do, talking to people, that when you get caught up on the attainable portion, it kind of encourages you to dream small. So what I mean by that is you're thinking like, okay, what can I achieve? And it becomes more what you think you can do versus dreaming big and going to the next level. And the problem, and there's a couple of problems with this. First of all, if you are not, you know, reaching higher than what you think you can do, then you're never going to know whether or not you can do that. And chances are you probably can reach higher if you try, but if you don't have a goal that is lofty enough, then you're not going to want to try. So if you dream small, then you're not going to know whether you can hit those things. You're not going to hit those big, really big things that you want to do in life because they might not seem attainable. Along with that, dreaming small encourages you to work small. So what I mean by that is that when you have a really big goal and something you're not sure if you can actually hit, it encourages you to work hard and to dream bigger and to think bigger and to try things you haven't done yet, because you're trying to get somewhere and you don't know if you can do it, but you're really trying to hit it. And that is a magical place to be. That's where the growth happens. That's where you learn the most. That's where usually there's the most reward, because you're dreaming big and therefore you have to work big as well. If you're dreaming small because you're worried about that attainable piece, then you're also going to work small. It's going to be harder to push yourself out of your boundaries, to push yourself to work harder, to, you know, make that product, to upload that video, because there's not as much of a reason. When you have a goal that is maybe not even attainable, you at least have something you're reaching towards and something you're working hard towards, and you have that encouragement to work hard because you need to get there. You won't get there if you're worried about that attainable piece and you're really stuck on that attainable piece. If you set attainable goals, you'll get attainable results. And I want big results and big goals. One thing this reminded me of as I was writing down my outline is the book that I read called 10X. I think that's what it's called, 10X, by Grant Cardone. Now, I don't really think you need to buy the book, because here's basically the whole thing is his goal. He always says, take your goal and multiply it by 10 and then work 10 times as hard to make it happen. And that's basically the entire book, not gonna lie. I will link it down below in case you want to read it, but that's the gist of it. And at the time I had a problem with that because I was like, that's a little insane. But as I was writing this, I realized that at least a part of him is right. Now he's a little bit out there, but at least that part is right. His whole thing is when you set really big goals and you are planning to and want to actually hit something really big, then you also need to back it up with the work that's gonna come with it. So when you dream big, you'll work big. But if you dream small, then you'll work small, and then your results will be small. Now, the other thing about this attainable that I don't really like is that it can be boring. If you know you're gonna hit something and you know you're gonna do it, then it's not very exciting, and that's no fun. And then you're not gonna want to make a new product. You're not gonna want to make a new video. You're not gonna want to post on Instagram because you're bored. And who wants to be bored? I find when I get bored with my business, the best thing I can do is make a new kind of product I've never made before, because it's exciting and it's fun and it's new. And setting huge goals helps me to do things like that so that I actually have them. So if you're worried about attainable, it can encourage you to dream small and be bored. And neither of those things are going to help your results. So instead of those attainable goals, I want you to really think about having big, audacious goals. Goals that maybe even scare you a little bit, especially in the long run. Basically, here's how I think about it. In the short run, SMART goals are great. When it's like, here's my goal for this week or for this month, they work really well. But when you get to a year or 2 years or 3 years or farther out, SMART goals can just not work out because, again, they encourage you to work small, they encourage you to play it safe and be bored and not very exciting, versus big, audacious goals that scare you a little bit and you don't know if you're gonna hit them. When you set big, audacious, scary goals, what happens is you have to step up. And when you really commit, I'm not talking like, oh, hey, that would be cool, and then never thinking about it again. I'm meaning like really, really commit. You're like, this is what I'm doing. Then you'll step up to make it happen. You'll come up with new ideas to hit that goal. You'll come up with new product lines. You'll come up with new strategies, new things that you haven't done before. And some of those ideas are gonna be your best ideas ever. Some of them are gonna be not so good, but some of them are gonna be really, really good. And it'll take you places you didn't know you could go. And it'll take you places that you know, really would love to go, but you don't think you can. Having big, audacious, scary goals is the way to grow both your business and also as a person. Those are the things that are really going to help you to move forward, especially in the long run, like I mentioned. Because again, SMART goals can be great for this week or this month, but when it comes to 5 years from now, there's just so much time in between now and 5 years from now, and I personally cannot see the future, and therefore I don't really know what's going to be going on in 5 years. But I do have some big, scary goals that I really, really want to hit that are more in the 5 years out. I have really big, I'm looking over my vision board, I have really big, exciting things that I want to do, and in order to make them happen, I have to set big, scary, audacious goals in order to make sure that I can hit all these check marks that I want to do what I want to do down the line. Now, if you are focused again on that attainable piece, especially when you think 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, then again, it encourages you to work small, and it doesn't encourage you to get really lofty and have really fun things to do. Maybe you want to visit a country you've never visited before, and you really want to like do it up and go crazy on this vacation and do all the things. And in order to do that, you need to make a certain amount of money, and that amount of money might seem like a lot. And your SMART goal might say that it's not attainable, but your big, audacious goal says that you're gonna do everything in your power to make it happen. Or maybe you want to pay off your house or purchase a new house or purchase a house. And in order to do that, again, you usually these are money. Let's be real. It's business, so it's usually gonna be money. In order to do that, you have to hit a certain revenue amount. And again, your attainable goal might say you can't do that, but your big lofty goal says that you can. And when you focus on those like long-term, really big things, it helps you do the work today to make it happen. So don't worry about the attainable. Do make it specific, do make it measurable, you know, have a set amount of money that you're looking at, have a set amount of time that you would, you know, generally like to do it. But don't worry about it being attainable. set the goal and then figure out how you're gonna do it. Set the goal and then work backwards to see what you need to do today in order to make that happen. Now, if you're not willing to do all of that today, then you might need to push it back a little bit to give you some time. So in that case, I guess it's attainable-ish. But in general, I want you to think, here's what I want. How do I get there? And work backwards in order to get to that place. Don't worry about whether or not you can do it. Just decide, okay, I'm doing it, I'm committing, and then figure out how to do it and keep track along the way to make sure that you are on track. Just like Grant Cardone says in his book that I can't believe I'm actually recommending, you have to back up your goal with work. It's not enough to just be like, hey, I want to do this cool thing. You actually have to do the work to make it happen. And the bigger the goal, the more work it's gonna be. That's true. But the bigger the goal, the more work, and the better the reward. All right, guys, I hope that you feel me, and I hope that as you're looking to set some goals, that you start thinking about things that are maybe scary, maybe not attainable, but make you excited and make you want to show up for life and make you, have a guiding North Star that you are headed towards. Because that's what big, audacious goals do. They give you a starting point and you know where you're headed, and that is huge. If you're still concerned about that attainable part, then my suggestion would be to do a stretch goal. So make your little SMART goal and then say, but I'd really like this, and have your stretch goal. That way, if you don't hit your big, scary goal, then hopefully you at least hit your attainable goal. And what usually happens is if you set, here's my attainable goal, here's my big, scary goal, you'll probably land somewhere in the middle if you don't hit the top one. And you know what? If you land here, that's still this much higher than you would have landed if your goal was attainable. And just think, if you don't hit attainable, then you're all the way down here. But if you are shooting for this and you land here, then you're doing pretty well. Did everybody have in their classrooms growing up that poster that said like, shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land among the stars? Which is not really true because the moon is way closer to the stars. But it's the point being that if you shoot really big, then even if you don't hit that goal, you'll still be in a better position than if you were just trying to go to the clouds. I hope this encouraged you. I hope that this helps. If you have questions, feel free to DM me over on Instagram. It's at Becca.e.davis, and I would love to hear about your goals. If you just want to share them with someone and you're too scared to tell anybody that you know, that's fine. Then come tell me, and I would love to hear about them. If you have more goal questions, I would love any goal questions down below in the comments, because I nerd out about this kind of stuff and love talking about it all day long. Goal setting, planning, like y'all. New Year's, probably my favorite holiday. No, Christmas, definitely Christmas. New Year's will be number 2. With that said, I'm gonna go. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.